Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Fandomnation, your one-stop shop for all things fandom related, all the way from horror stuff to comic book stuff to a little bit of wrestling, Star Wars, even some Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon stuff to discuss tonight. It's going to be a rabid show tonight, and it's not going to be two streams. It'll just be one. We have our Andor watch party that we're going to do for episode 10 of season one, but it's just going to be part of this stream. I'll explain why momentarily. But we weren't even sure the show was going to happen. And I won't lie, as of about 20 minutes ago, I was really tempted to just say to Johnny and Randy, I am fucking exhausted with what has gone on the last 3 or 4 days. I need a day. But then I thought, you know what? We're already this close to showtime. Let's just rapid fire through the show stuff, get to the Andor watch party. I really enjoyed us doing that, and see what everybody's up to. But if you're wondering what we're talking tonight, we are going to discuss truly, when it comes down to it, if you have to pick one or the other. Do you want a new Halloween TV series or a movie? Spoke with someone that we've gotten a lot of Halloween information from in the past, and I was voicing some of my frustration, and he just kind of said, "Hey, well, do you want a movie or a TV series? If you want a movie, it's going to be less of a headache. If you want a TV series, you're going to have to be patient because these things take time to work out. Not that movies don't, but, one is 90 minutes of content to 2 hours, and the other one's 8 to 10 hours of content. Pretty big difference between the two in terms of storytelling and everything that you need to go right in your direction. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. There's some I Know What You Did Last Summer news, some Scream news, some Avengers news in terms of the casting. We definitely have a much clearer picture of what's going on. The question's just, is it anything we were expecting? Um, Spider-Man 4, Tom Holland's movie, has a title. I will also mention that Spider-Verse 3, I forget what the actual name of that is not coming out until I believe it is June 2027. So it is a ways away, and people have already been waiting some time for it. Um, so yeah, we got that. Uh, and then a brief little update on Star Wars Andor, and just a little bit about the WrestleMania build heading into Mania season. I'm frustrated in terms of someone who likes good creative, and I never like tooting Johnny's horn too much because that guy doesn't need his horn tooted at all ever. Trust me. Um, but he said something over the past few weeks. Actually, not even few weeks, few months, really, to give him proper credit. And it's glared its head here, in my opinion, in the last few weeks, big time. And just wanted to voice my frustration about that. And that'll be the show. And then we'll watch Andor together. Kenny in the chat, longtime friend of the show, Shoza, pardon me, says, guys, where is your hype level for Superman and the DCU? I'm pretty excited for it, but do we have some concerns? We'll get to that in a moment, Kenny. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Joining me on this episode of Fandom Nation, I believe it's our 7th episode under this new show title and style. He is the man behind pros, before pros, Twitch. He is Johnny. What's going on, buddy? One second, I have you muted.
Oh, it's going. It's Canadian weather in this time of year. It's fucking awful. It's terrible. I hate it so much.
I can't figure out if you're being incredibly insensitive at the moment.
No, I'm being
or
serious. This time of year is just it's awful.
Yeah.
You go from the crap you're getting to, well, you can go in shorts and a t-shirt today. Like, what are we doing here?
Today was definitely not shorts and t-shirt weather, my friend. Um, but speaking of
No, but
which,
it's going to be. It's supposed to go up to like 20 degrees tomorrow and Thursday. Like,
yeah, 18. I think
it's.
I read
Yeah, I mean,
Thursday. Yeah,
come on.
yeah, it's gonna get everybody sick too. So that's what it
Yeah.
does. Um, but anyways, yeah, I'm on location tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm at the spouse's family's place. Actually, not far from Johnny. And we had a severe ice storm hit where we live and many of the surrounding areas. And honestly, when you look at the pictures and the video from it all, and um, we you would think it was a tornado. Honestly, it doesn't look like an ice storm. Looks like a tornado went through, and we've been without power for geez, Saturday night, and we know the power isn't coming back before Thursday morning. So it just got insanely cold, and they've been closing down all the schools, which means I've been out of work. Um, we made the call to be safe and warm, so we drove a couple hours away, and here we are. So won't be a long show tonight because I am running on fumes, but looking forward to diving into it more. And just so if anyone's wondering, well, why was the main part of the show only 40 minutes and then right into Andor? It's why Sean's on fumes, and honestly, thoughts to everybody affected, just in that area of Ontario. It's bad. It's way worse than I think anybody was expecting. It's the worst that I've ever been affected by a weather situation. And we're supposed to get another one tomorrow before cleanup's even done, or most powers. Restore, it's not supposed to be as bad, but still could do some damage, and it's not good. It's not good. So I'm actually looking forward to just hanging out with you guys and chatting and watching some Star Wars. Randy, sorry for that long, long mumbo jumbo there. What's going on with you tonight, brother?
I mean, it's all good, man. I mean, you're safe, you're warm. That's what matters most. Um, really, not a whole lot on my end. Went to GalaxyCon this weekend. Got to get meet some celebs. Like I got to sit there and chat a little bit with Swerve Strickland. Dude is super humble and real chill. He was very pleasant to talk to, just because of his just the way he treats the fans and just how really low key he is. Got a few pieces of art, and unfortunately, Matt was there with us, and we every time we tried to do something John Carpenter related, it just didn't end up working out. One panel he had canceled because he wasn't feeling well, and then he ended up signing autographs, and it was you just couldn't catch him to even really talk to him or even get anything done with him, because every time you get close, something come up. So
So what you're saying is you actually had the real John Carpenter experience.
I mean, if that's what it's supposed to be, then I guess so. But no, I'm other than that, pretty excited. Yeah, I got a week off next week, and the Devil May Cry anime on Netflix is dropping in a couple days. I'm super stoked for that. So yeah, it's start of a good week, So, but I am ready to blaze through this so we can get to some Andor. I'm guessing Sean muted himself.
I don't know what's going on. I thought I was having issues.
Oh, what's the last thing I said? I've been talking that whole time.
Randy
You were
finished
muted.
talking. You never said anything after that.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck this software. Uh, yeah. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Um, and the way you said it too, Johnny, made it seem like I'd like gotten cut off mid sentence, and you just hadn't heard anything at all. All right, so let's dive into this. CinemaCon's going on right now. Lots of good memories there in terms of Halloween stuff that's happened there. Was speaking with someone we have talked to a lot about Halloween over the years, has been very generous with sharing information with us. And I was venting to him, that I was getting a little annoyed that like we can't dig anything up about it. Other people seem to not be able to dig anything up about what's going on other than speculation. You hear, Welcome to Derry news, Crystal Lake news, news of other shows, Fear Street having a movie coming out and three more in, pre-production. Scream. I know what you did last summer. Like, it's a Halloween fan. It's easy to forget that 2018 through 2022, and really, if you go the year before when it was announced and the hype with filming, really 2017 through 2022, that 5 year period, um, is you're probably never ever going to see that for Halloween again, if I'm being frank, in
I
terms
thought
of
you were shocked.
consistent releases and um, success. Really, is probably how I put it. Popularity in the public eye, um, but he more or less said, "Well, what would you rather? Do you want the headache of trying to put together a series, or do you want them to just say fuck it, turn the focus to a movie, have that movie ready for 2028 because it's already 2025. Not that you couldn't have one before, you definitely could, but at this point, why? It's kind of where I'd be sitting. Um, and just do something simple. And I know a lot of people are gunned up for this series. I love the idea of telling a Halloween story in long form storytelling spread across 8 to 10 episodes. Um, I'm hopeful for well written characters so that the character development over that course of time makes a series worth it. But the headache that comes with trying to even get this project off the ground, despite rights being sold, is massive. And I really think when it comes down to it, if my options are just new, simple reboot Halloween movie in 2028 as a 50th anniversary movie, or the series right now, I'm saying just give me a good Halloween flick in 2028. Where do you fellas fall with that, Johnny?
I mean, I don't care what form it comes in as long as it's quality. I don't care if it's a TV series. I don't care if it's a movie. Like if you've been around here long enough, we've established that Halloween's not my main franchise. It never has been. But for me, it's quantity, or excuse me, quality, not quantity. I want what you do put out to be good because it is, it's a needle mover. For us anyway, it's a needle mover, and I want quality to talk about. I want quality to enjoy. I want to watch the movies and be like, yeah, that was really good. Or TV series or whatever the product ends up being. I just want it to be good. I don't care what it is, as long as it's good. If they want to take their time and make it a movie, I don't care. If they want to, be a little quicker and do a TV series, that's fine too. All I care about is that at the end of the day, it's quality. And that's obviously what we've been, sort of lacking. It wasn't the quantity, it was the quality. And that's, sort of where we lost it, like things looked so great in 2018 seeing that movie, and then you know, uh, with trilogies, you hope that it's going to be up, 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 or at least up and then down. You don't want it to be up. You don't want the first movie of the trilogy to be the high point. And I think, it's unquestionable. That's what we got, with this most recent trilogy is, 2018 was the high point. It was all downhill from there, which is the opposite of what you want. It's the opposite of what we want. As Star Wars fans, we ended up experiencing the same thing there too. Like, I just want a TV series or a movie trilogy or just a movie. I just want something that's good, something that I can watch and be satisfied and be happy and, not come out of it feeling like, damn, I wasted my time, I wasted my money, so much wasted here. And that's kind of how I felt, with the last two movies, like, eh, the middle movie was at least a little better because, as bad as it was, the pandemic forced it into streaming right off the gate. So I didn't actually have to pay to go to a movie theater to see it. So there was that. But other than that, it's, I just want quality. That's what I want. I don't care what form it takes. I just want something good.
Fair enough. Randy?
So honestly, at this point, let's go movie. Let's we got some time to lead into the 50th, and now's your chance to really have that true love letter to the fans and really build on the of Halloween as a whole. And and at this point, unless you're secretly got writers, directors, and cast you haven't announced yet for a TV series, it makes total sense to go the route of the movie. And honestly, I would love a reason to go back to the theaters and watch a movie, and that's kind of what I'm looking at with this is here's your opportunity. Let's go with it. It was because they fed off the remember berries, and then you got the fact that it was a love letter of sorts to the fans, not the one that we should be getting with the 50th, but it was enough to whet everybody's appetite and have them be hungry for more. And then they just told their story, and then of course we got the other two movies, but ultimately this is a huge on it and just say, you know what, we can take the movie and then lead into a TV series afterwards. Since the TV series can be still in development while they're making the movie. It's just clearly it's taking a lot of time, and fans deserve better.
Yeah, no, I think in today's day in the industry, I think you are better off being at least a little transparent than completely tight-lipped with the way things work. Um, but that's just my take. Uh, and I know what you did last summer. Little teaser played at CinemaCon, which is pretty impressive considering that movie just wrapped filming. Uh, CinemaCon's a big movie exhibition they put on each year to uh, basically for the movie uh, theater chains and
Executives and
executives and uh, exhibitionists to an extent. What's going on, Turkey Burger? Long time no see, buddy. Um, oh, here's a good one. I actually like this question. Fandomnation, Johnny, Sean, Chat. I'm sure Randy, he will show you some love one day. Um, in retrospect, do you think 2018 should have been one and done?
Honestly, the way it ended, I think you could have made it a one and done.
Yeah, so I think here's my problem for that, right? Like with I don't like ends. I don't like the story that's told despite having excellent movie execution in terms of Oh, there's the grandfather clock. Apologies for that, guys. Nothing I can do about that.
I'll be honest, we couldn't even hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it?
No. If we can, it's like a very distant.
I was gonna say I can.
You can?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine with it. Don't bother me.
Let me tell you, I've never wanted to do the Ric Flair throw your jacket on the ground, lay an elbow drop on the jacket thing more to anything in my life than this fucking clock.
Oh God.
Um. Anyways, um. So like again, ends excellent cinematography, sound design, editing, score, even the acting's great. I just hated the story. Um. Kills I like. Kills has consistently grown on me since the second it came out. There's some stuff I can do without in Kills for sure that I think makes that film weaker. But for me, I really like Kills. Hell, I'll just say I love Kills, to be honest. Um, it also holds a lot of nostalgia. It's the thing that really set this channel off back in the day and gave us the opportunity to do a lot of different things. Um, but like Randy's initial response was, when you look at how it ends 2018, that shot of the girls escaping, and we see, well, really, well, they're still in the house. We see Michael at the bottom of the staircase, and they've set everything on fire behind him. And he's look, there's no panic. There's no, oh shit, I'm going to burn alive. There's no, what do I got to do? Where do I got to go? You know? He's just standing there. He's the shape. He's looking up at them. And they escape. And then we go back to the basement and we don't see him. And we go back to the truck and it looks like Lori is bleeding out. And the end credits end up having Michael breathing in it. I really think when you look at how they executed that entire film, but specifically the ending and what it does for all the characters without definitively killing them, um, I think that yeah, there's an argument to be made that 2018 should have been one and done. Now, there's going to be a bunch of other people that also say, I can give you an extra, 400 million reasons almost why it was not one and done. Feel free to jump on in here, guys, however you want.
I mean, from a cinematic and storytelling standpoint, they spent an entire movie trying to rehumanize Michael, and they succeeded. They did an excellent job of, bringing the man back into the story and making Michael, taking the supernatural out of Halloween, which I thought was an excellent decision, and a great storytelling decision because it did, allow you to be more, real in your interactions with Michael, with the characters, with Laurie and her family, and you could tell that story, and it built to this crescendo, to this moment where you finally, you know Laurie has spent all of these years knowing he would come back, and finally when he does, she stands her ground, she faces him down, and she traps him in the burning basement, which you'd spent this entire film basically rehumanizing him, and all of a sudden, yeah, let's be superhuman again. I'm gonna just be this, man, this old man, and I'm just gonna get out of this burning house. Just no big deal. No big deal. I'm gonna walk through a crew of firefighters. No big deal. Whatever. No big deal.
See that
Like,
one wasn't the big deal to me. To me, you could have sold me on him still being able to do that. The one that was a big deal to me was when the you'd have to like pull up some images of the mob, but let's say
oh yeah,
20,
that's even
25
yeah.
people. It's like a royal rumble of competitors just beating one guy down,
Oh yeah.
and it's not supposed to be supernatural, and then he proceeds to get up and annihilate them all
Yep.
just to be in fucking worse shape than
Yeah.
current day Bret Hart in Halloween Ends. Like,
It just they couldn't decide on the thematic storytelling of Michael at any point in that. And had you ended, had 2018 been a standalone and ended with that, it would have been satisfying because we could have been clamoring for they can come back, they can do it, they can tell another story, and quite frankly, they would have waited. Here we are now, 7 years later, and sure, if you want to tell a sequel to that now, you probably could because you'd have had 7 years to write it, put it together, come up with the plan, and all of those things that are necessary for good, you know, storytelling is the most important. Like when you rush, that's how you end up with kills and ends. You rush those films and you rush the production cycle just to try and make a buck. And you know, we'll be honest, the world is kind of the reason they didn't make the bucks they wanted, but it just it, if it had stopped there, I'd have been happy. I'd have been satisfied because it was a great story. It was a satisfying story. It was a fun story. It had the benefit of not being what I expected it to be. It sort of hits you with that, oh damn, this was not what I expected, because if you've been around this channel long enough, you'll know that I was a skeptic, a huge skeptic, heading into 2018. I did not believe, there was no belief in my mind that the man behind Eastbound and Down could come up with a horror movie that would make me buy it. I was expecting more of the resurrection shtick, that fake comedy horror crap that we got then. I was expecting Busta Rhymes to show up and, drop a one-liner on us. I was expecting crap like that. I was not expecting a genuine hard-hitting horror movie that, took that was, tonally and thematically the closest we've gotten to John Carpenter's first Halloween movie, in my opinion. And that's an accomplishment in and of itself for me as a viewer. I was happy. I was satisfied. You came up to bat, you pinch hit in the ninth inning, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, and you walked it off. You bat drop, everybody goes home happy. The only problem is all you did was tie the game, went to extra innings where you shit the bed. Instead of being a walk-off win, you took us to extras where you dropped the ball and lost the game. And that's sort of what we are. It's, if you'll excuse the Canadian in me, it's the Blue Jays in 2015. Jose Bautista hits the seventh inning home run that makes the world stop and cheer and everybody on their feet and go crazy, and you lose the rest of the series. You hit the bomb, you won it, you took it. Everybody remembers that moment. It's still, here we are 10 years later, still, it's at least as talked about as, Kawhi's three to send the 76ers crying in their socks, because that's what they do in the playoffs.
hey now. Hey,
I'm
we don't need to
sorry.
be
The Philadelphia 76ers are the Edmonton Oilers of hockey, of basketball. They used to be great, and then they sucked, and they still suck, and they're ruining great careers.
to the Packers.
I'm sorry. How many championships in the last century have the 76ers won?
I don't know the answer to that question.
It's zero. It's zero. How many have the Packers won in this century? More than zero.
All right. I'll finish the Halloween talk with this. 2018, basically, you felt like they understood Michael Myers, like they understood who he was, what he was about, and gave us that fan-friendly movie where it felt like Halloween. This is Michael Myers. This is the Michael Myers I grew up with. This is the one I've always wanted to see. And then the other two movies was more like, we're going to take a more artistic direction with these and see if we can lace it with subtle hints of what's going on in the world and blah, 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 blah. And that's the other two movies. It was like, hey, you got your money here. Now let's go with the artistic shit here and see what happens. And that's pretty much that trilogy wrapped up in a nutshell. So hopefully, with if they do, when they should do a movie for the 50th, we get someone who not only uh, loves the franchise but understands Michael Myers at the very base root of what he is, who he is, what he stands for, and gives us a movie that is indicative of that and is just a straight up love letter to the fans.
There's my guy. What's going on, Ty? Long time no see, buddy. I hope you're well. Hey, stick around. In probably 20 minutes time, we'll be doing a Andor episode 10 season 1 watch party. I don't know if you ever got it through Andor, but pretty excited for season 2 here. It's Johnny's first time watching through it too. So, um, all right. I know what you did last summer. Footage was shown at CinemaCon today. One character into a bathtub with earphones. You next is written on the window. Freddie Prince Jr. appears. I need your help, another character says. And then we get fade to black. I just have one question. What did you do last summer? And it shows Jennifer Love Hewitt and coming to theaters July 18th. So rumors about that flick being delayed to next year were incredibly false, not happening. It's going to happen. It's going to happen this year. So that's pretty cool on that front. And then on the Scream 7 front, we found out that Courtney Cox actually has had a big hand behind the scenes in setting this new movie up after they had to scrap their original Scream 7 plans with when they fired Melissa and the directors and the writer dropped out and just that big mess they were in last year. Uh, and she's played a pretty big part in terms of getting a lot of the past people to come back. My guess is at friendly costs as well. But yeah, Courtney Cox is playing a big role behind the scenes in Scream 7. Um, Jerry says, Johnny can't read that right now. It's not showing up properly on my screen. Can you?
The mob scene was BS. Realistically, everyone should have jumped Myers at once, not 1v1. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you go back and watch it, it's not all 1v1. It gets to 1v1 a little later on, but at one point, Myers is getting beaten down by like 10 or 12 of them. And then they let him get back up. And for whatever reason, it goes to 1v1 and he annihilates them. I kind of also wish Tommy Doyle, the character, would have gotten a better send off than that. And had I know they had multiple different sets of plans for Lindsay Wallace in Halloween Ends, and then she ended up not doing much of anything. Feel like she probably would have been better to go in Kills, to be honest. But yeah, good points. Good points. Let's keep shifting gears here. Marvel announced a chunk of the cast for Avengers Doomsday. We know there's more to come with something Robert Downey Jr. said. Surely there can't be more, dot, dot, dot. And whenever we get more, we'll do that. Or we'll cover it. But the big takeaway from this, guys, I saw Johnny had sent a message about Kelsey Grammer returning as Beast, which I thought was interesting. But the further they got into these cast announcements, is Avengers Doomsday just gonna be that Avengers versus X-Men movie nobody thought we were ever gonna get?
Maybe. Obviously, we don't have all the casts announced yet, but there's that potential for sure.
With like Fantastic Four caught in the middle, sort of thing.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, we don't have exactly a synopsis or anything like that yet, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if something like that was the reason for Doomsday in general is, maybe Doom brings the X-Men into the universe and shit goes sideways. I don't know. It's exciting though. The amount of actors that they're bringing back for this, and the fact there's more casting to be made. I'm stoked.
I didn't see anyone putting out there that in Avengers Doomsday they'd be bringing back most of the Fox X-Men team. Didn't see anyone having that. The most I ever seen was the possibility of introducing new X-Men characters for the MCU, and then obviously the Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman stuff that's been out there that I think will more than likely happen. Didn't see anyone being like, "Hey, here's the full Fox team that's going to be basically back." Johnny, best guess what's going on with this dude?
I don't know. I mean, and I said this to you when the video was going on. Which, by the way, if they ever do that again, I will strangle someone at Marvel. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it made them the talk for that time, but like, there was a better way to go about it than
It
that.
was like even if you want to do like the staggered releases of names, I don't hate that so much. The fact I had to sit around watching a YouTube video for 6 fucking hours to get, was it 26 names, 27 names?
Something
Like
like
hell
that. Yeah,
no. That's
yeah.
not that's not,
Most of which were a given, other than maybe 8 or 9 of them.
really the only ones that I didn't expect were, they confirmed more Thunderbolts than I would have expected because I did expect them to leave some ambiguity with that movie not even being out yet about who would survive that movie. Um, but they didn't. They pretty much gave us everyone, which, if you read between the lines, you can figure out who's going to survive that movie and who's not, based on whether or not they were announced for this. So, they're sort of taking their own surprises off the field, which I think is stupid in and of itself. It just, there were a handful of surprises, a handful of genuine shocks, and a few where I was like, oh, damn. Like, as we're watching it, as I'm watching it, I'm telling the people that, reporting name by name for the people being announced to the, the people been watching Daredevil with, because, they were at work, I wasn't. So I was, I was watching the video. And there was only one time where I saw a name pop up that I was like, why are you in this? Like, are you, like, and that was Alan Cumming. Everyone else immediately knew who they were, obviously, because they were mostly new or they were, huge stars in the original. But I don't know what they're doing. Like, watching the video, I even said this to you. This has to be Secret Wars, not Doomsday, because it makes no sense to be Doomsday. Like, I have no idea what they're doing now, because
It makes sense because they're
it's
filming them back to back, so that's probably one of the reasons they're probably trying to throw people off.
yeah, but they made a point that this was the Doomsday cast announcement. Like they made that a point. Like they even changed that. Like initially, the YouTube video was just announcement, so
Yeah, they
it could have
changed
been
it
anything.
midstream to correct
And they
it. Yeah.
changed, yeah, they changed it about 2.5 hours, probably about 2/3 of the way through, roughly. They changed it to be Doomsday, like Avengers Doomsday cast reveal. I'm like, huh? Like, it doesn't make sense to me that this is like. I'm all for the idea of X-Men versus Avengers. I have been for a long time. That's what I assumed Secret Wars was going to be, because it made the most sense. They're not of the same Earth. They're different Earths colliding and fighting with each other for survival. The ultimate Earth survival. That made sense to me. This doesn't make sense to me, because you're going to cram all of this and you're going to cram into a story about Doomsday explaining, you know, why Tony Stark is Doomsday, like why Tony Stark is Doctor Doom all of a sudden. Why is that happening? It just, there's so much they have to do in this that I think they're overloading this cast. This is
Not to mention they're not done announcing the cast.
exactly like it's there's too much. There's too much for one movie. And I think I think this is a bad idea. I genuinely do. I don't think there's going. I think this needs to be a story film. There needs to be story in this. It can't just be action set piece, action set piece, action set piece. And with this cast, it's going to be action set piece, action set piece, action set piece.
I was going to
There-
say it does feel more in line with the later two Avengers films than the prior two.
This is Battle of Wakanda levels of cast. And that doesn't belong in this movie. You know, this is the movie that builds to the stakes. This is the movie that establishes Doom and Tony's motivations and why he is now who he is, or why this Tony became who he is, or however you're going to tell that story. You can't just ham fist it, and with a cast this big, you're going to leave a lot of story out of it just to try and give people, like, unless they're bringing a lot of these guys in for a quick cameo here, a quick cameo there, you get a 2-minute scene and that's it, which is a waste of announcing them, because I'd rather be surprised by their appearance when the film comes out. I don't know, I feel like they're setting themselves up for a massive backlash when either these characters aren't featured prominently or really at all and are just also rans, or they're going to just set us up for a movie where it's, a sprinted marathon where no story takes place and we're still left scratching our heads like, what was even the point of all this?
I think the more likely thing here is they end up having a lot of these characters, despite them getting big announcements and stuff, having very minor roles in the movie. Not saying all of them, but I could see it going that route personally. Randy, did you have any thoughts here on what could be going on?
Honestly, this movie could be the setup for Secret Wars. I don't know. I mean, you're right. It's a lot of actors to have under one roof for a movie that's only going to be 2 to 3 hours long tops. So you really need to be careful how you use them and how you some of these characters, how you're introducing them to the MCU itself. And I do feel like we'll find out more as more movies come out prior to Doomsday. Um, Obviously, we need to figure. Obviously, we'll get the what happens with the Thunderbolts. We're going to see what happens with the Fantastic Four, and potentially maybe some TV series as well. Uh, Ultimately, it's is it going to be jumbled? Maybe, but the Russos have handled big casts before too, so it's not like this is unfamiliar territory for them. And it did a fairly decent job of juggling all those characters. So I guess we just have to wait and see what they come up with and see what that first teaser trailer brings, if and to showcase any hint of what the story might be. Because at this point, I have no clue. I'm I'm excited for the characters that are going to be involved, but I'm just kind of sitting here, kind of going, "What are we doing here? I need specifics. I need something. Give me even a synopsis. I need to know what's going on."
Um, dive into more of that next week. I want to share something that one of the insiders was saying about the reasoning for announcing certain names with the first announcement before certain movies come out, and what they're trying to spell out for fans. And I don't know if any of it's true, but we'll save that for a topic for next week. Jerry says, let's see, where is it here? I'm gonna have to pull it down from the screen. Actually, Johnny, can you read that?
It may have been better to do some special presentation and use Brave New World to build up Doctor Doom. Big events need build up. Afraid Doom shows up once in F4, then straight to Doomsday. That's what's going to happen. Doomsday, Doctor Doom is going to be in the post credit scene and nothing else. I am confident of that. You probably hear him mentioned and probably see Latveria on like TV screens, as like news headlines. But other than that, I don't think you're going to hear about him at all.
Um, we gotta keep the ball rolling here, guys. Um, Spider-Man 4 got a title. Brand new day. I think it's lame as shit. But I'll be honest, I think all the Tom Holland names are lame as shit for the movies. And I like the movies, so name it whatever the fuck you want. Just give me a good Spider-Man movie. Uh,
Exactly.
um, feel the very, very same way about a certain Star Wars movie title coming out next year. So hopefully that film
We all
is
do.
good
We
as
all
well.
feel that way.
But yeah, brand new day, head day next year. So the Dragon casting news. This one caught me off guard. My co-host over at Legacy of Westeros, Zach, made me aware of it, and he said, "Sorry, one second." Um, yeah. So the big House of the Dragon casting news. Tommy Flanagan, aka Chibs from Sons of Anarchy, has been cast in House of the Dragon, as has Dan Fogler from Fanboys and Fantastic Beasts and The Walking Dead. And those are two castings that I didn't think would happen, and I like both actors quite some bit. And all this does is make me more hyped for season 3 of the show when we get to see it in the year 2026. Unbelievable. Um, we'll hopefully have more time to dive into that, later, or check out the Legacy of Westeros channel, and hopefully whenever we get power back at home, um, we can do a little video and get it up over on that channel as well. So, but yeah, some big time House of the Dragon casting news. They also cast someone else. Someone Norton. Is it a James
James Norton.
Norton? James
Yeah.
Norton. That's it. In a fairly sizable role as well. So they're obviously hard at work. Filming has begun on season 3, and definitely looking forward to bringing you coverage on that, as well as A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and anything else Westeros. Let's dive into this Mania build, guys. Johnny, I know you love your wrestling rants. We got to keep it under control tonight. Uh, Simple topic here. I'm happy for Punk. Glad he's getting his main event. Called this on the show weeks ago that there was no chance that um, Jay and Gunther was gonna main event, and that was before their frankly dog shit build. And then the dog shit build happened, and then some people might say, well, the women's triple threat match. Well, I think we all know it's going to be a triple threat match, but it still hasn't even been announced as a triple threat match. So um, I'm not shocked. But let me say this: even as a Punk fan, obviously, like that's my guy. That's my honestly my second favorite wrestler all time ever. Um, I'm happy for him. I love when we get to see people's dreams come true. Um, that being said, the execution on the Cena Cody stuff, the execution on the Punk Roman Seth stuff, um, the hardly ever being on shows, it's fucking awful. If I'm being honest, it's bad TV. Uh, when they are on together, specifically with the triple threat match, um, they get like no time because fucking Romans and Seth's entrance takes forever. Um, and then they just have them go on at the end. They don't save time for it to properly breathe. And it's just everything Johnny said about how Triple H's booking has been for me is just starting to come into light now. And I'd say he was bang on. I think the Mania build's been shit. Again, I'm thrilled for Punk. Um, but I think all across the board, from Punk, Roman, Seth to the night two main event to even the girls over the women's match. Um, Even the Drew stuff, obviously for very obvious reasons. I'm just I'll be excited to watch Mania, obviously, but it's one of those cases where this felt like it had the chance, even with all the same people involved, to be something much much bigger than it is, and bad execution, in my opinion, has left it sour. Johnny, give us your best 2 minute hit on that. Maybe you just want to say I told you so.
Yeah, I just want to say I told you so. No, I mean it's same old shit. Same old shit. I've said it all the way through. That match has no business main eventing WrestleMania. It doesn't. The WrestleMania main event should never ever be a match made official in the month of March. Okay, that's ridiculous. It's stupid. You put 3 weeks into building a WrestleMania main event level match. That's fucking ridiculous. You're never gonna succeed. It's stupid. You're already gearing up for the lowest attended WrestleMania in what 10 years, not counting pandemic years, obviously. Like it's fucking ridiculous. This is stupid. It's bad booking. It's I said it a few months ago. The Paul Heyman segment in a video game is more interesting to me than any build this match is going to get in the next 3 weeks because it's only 3 fucking weeks. You don't have time to do anything interesting. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
care that you've been we've been building to this match for no, you haven't. No, you haven't been building to this for 2 years. You've been building to Punk Roman for 2 years. You've been building to Seth Roman for 10 years. You've not been building to a triple threat for years. You've been building to a triple threat for 3 weeks.
let's not
That's
forget,
not enough
John.
time.
Cena has no more dates between now and Mania, unless they were able to move something around schedule wise. Like that, that
Even
was it.
even that, the
Like
promos they've
that's
had the last couple weeks have been better than anything on the other side. But at
yeah,
least the
but
promos have been good on the the Cena side. Like
even this is a late start though for the Cena Cody stuff. Like I think the whole thing
yeah,
across
but
the
they at least had
board.
Elimination Chamber. Like they've still had 2 full months basically to
Well,
put that
no,
together.
no, no, no. Let's not give them 2 full months here
I'm
because you
not
were right
saying
on
they've used
Elimination
it properly.
Chamber,
I'm
and
not
then
saying they've used it properly.
I was gonna say he
I'm saying
takes
they've
off for
had it.
2 weeks, three
I'm saying
weeks,
they've
2 weeks,
had two
whatever it was.
months. Not that they've used. I'm not saying they've used every episode of those 2 months because they haven't. They've
Here's my
had two
problem: how many
months.
times have they been on TV together?
3, 4,
Not four, it's three. And Punk Roman Seth is two, and we're how many weeks away from Mania?
3.
Three. That's a joke. And yet you've had Rhea, Io, and
Which is also
uh,
a joke.
Bianca on screen together for like the last month and a half, and you still haven't made that match official. Like for me, all across the board right now in terms of the writing, it's not good. And in terms of I'm not worried
The
about their
only match that's gotten good, consistent build is the match they're not focusing on, which is ridiculous.
which one's that?
Jay and Gunther.
You think
That's
that
the
build's been good?
compared to
Oh
the
God,
others.
I think that build has been once again awful across the board and terrible and vanilla. And you're trying to get fucking Jay this, obviously this title run, and you're having him there with fucking. I was trying to remember Enos and Cletus from the fucking Dukes of Hazard there every other week, like nobody jobber people that nobody gives a fucking shit about, um, that aren't main event material, and like you have Gunther, who I think's fucking fantastic, by the way, and like I think it's been bad there too. Just because it's not doing the same thing the other things are doing, in my opinion, doesn't make it good. And again, it's just my opinion. I think it's been bad. Now, I know what happened last night. I've not seen it, so I can't really comment
You're
on it.
missing the big because that was
Oh
No,
yeah,
I heard it's
definitely.
good. But like the previous 5 or 6 weeks before that, it's
at
dog
least they've
shit. And
had
not to
5 or 6
mention,
weeks of
we had
consistent
already gotten
attempts.
the match three fucking times for free.
That's the
So
part that just makes me go, "Are you fucking stupid? What do you even know what you're doing?"
one recently.
Like I if that's been like they're sitting there and they're talking and be like, "Oh, but this has been the plan since September, October, November. We knew what we were doing." Then why the fuck did you do the match in January? Why did you have him lose so handedly in January? Like, if you want to do that match and have, Gunther sort of scrape by, and have Jay, be able to say, you got me this time, but you almost didn't, and next time you won't. You at least have something to build on.
Yeah,
Now
I
it's
mean,
just you squashed him and you win the Rumble, and now you're main eventing against. No, like, yes, the angle last night was amazing, and it is infinitely better than anything else on the other side for either main event. Like, last night's Raw did more to build WrestleMania for two matches, and only one of them is the main event. Because the Cena Cody angle was also
well, yeah. There's another thing, right? Like I have seen the Cena Cody angle. I thought that was I thought it was okay. Um, I you had like put them on the fucking show. Like they're there. Punk's there. Seth's there. I can't speak if Roman was there or not. He's on that ridiculous deal and doesn't seem to have a whole lot of interest in adding more dates to his deal to work more.
my
Um,
semblance to that is why should he?
well, I mean, if he cares about the storytelling, that's why.
He
If it's going to be,
negotiated the deal. They negotiated. Why should I give them more?
oh, I'm not saying he needs to give them free dates. I'm saying they should pay for the dates.
Please.
They got the money to do it.
Yeah, and if it's not going in their pockets, they don't care about it.
Um, but like you have them there, right? Like you
Yeah.
have maybe not Roman, but you had Punk and Seth there. Punk and Seth were in the building last night. Punk
Even
fought
if you
Gunther,
don't have
or
them there,
sorry,
this is
Kaiser.
2025. You've had this planned for long enough. It is inexcusable to me that you could not have filmed, a month's worth of good backstage vignettes.
Yeah, it's it, I call a spade. When AEW was shit, I called it shit. I still think John Moxley's stuff over there is complete ass. Um, but this stretch of WWE writing has, for me, since watching again, has been the worst that there has been. Randy, thoughts before we wrap up here?
So here's here's the issue to some degree. It's no excuse in any way, shape, or form, but they are trying. They're coming off of WrestleMania 40, which is, I mean, it's a year later, and that type of hype, that type of build that they had, that lightning in a bottle for some of those matches, that's hard to recapture. And clearly they can sit there and say there was, hey, we were ready, we knew what this was gonna be in September, all they want. We know that's not the case. We've seen how they pivot. We know if certain things aren't working, they will change their minds. We saw it with Rock, Roman, and Cody and Seth last year. We saw them pivot and turn it into something special. Unfortunately, some of the stuff they're retreading. Obviously, Jay and Gunther is not solely really mirroring Sammy and Gunther from last year, but it's kind of heading in that direction. And last night, what happened definitely put that spark out there. Really gives Jay that extra push, that extra adrenaline rush, that extra reason to go out there and beat the holy hell out of Gunther. It was great. It did help a very weak buildup. Uh, Cena and Cody, that's the best promo battle they've had in the past 3 weeks. Flat out, they went at it. Unfortunately, they still they still giving the edge to Cody in terms of the stuff they're giving him to work with. It's kind of I've wanted Cena to go scorched earth since day one, and he's not. He's just boring as shit right now, and it's kind of it was nice to see something out of him. The build for the women's the triple threat match, I don't know. It's kind of dumb. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like, especially the way the match went last night, it just overall, it's a mess, and I don't know what they were thinking. I feel like there were better people to put in the main event for the women, at least to go against Rhea, but hey, that's what they've gone with. But as far as the rest of the card, that's I mean, what you've got Logan Paul and AJ Styles. I mean, beyond that, what do you got? It's not a great card so far. It's going to be and they still have to fill 2 nights unless we're going to get another pay per view where in 4 hours they're only going to have 4 matches. Um,
Are you expecting them to have more than 4 matches?
Yeah, they're not going to announce a whole lot else. They got basically 8 matches set up right now, and my
but it's
You
just
guess
want to you
is
want to buy back my interest? Announce a gimmick battle royal. I'll be back in a heartbeat for that. At least it was fun.
yeah, true. Um,
It,
Cena needs to be back on TV at least once, one or two more times somehow. I don't care how they do it. If they're going to leave it at what we got last night, it's just I'm not going to be all that excited for that match, even though I know Cena's going to win it. It's just I just don't care at this point. It's like WWE, make me care. That's what I want. I want you to actually get me invested, make me care about these matches, and they're not doing it.
problem is, we've gone from changing the whims of the booking from one narcissist to changing the whims of the booking for another narcissist.
True.
yeah.
And
I
nobody
mean,
wants to say that out loud because we can't speak ill of the Dwayne.
um, well, unless your name's Phil. But anyways, Andor season 1, episode 10 watch party. We are going to go to the 2:35 mark here. It is the first image that comes up on screen after the title logo. But first, we're going to take 5 minutes. You need to use the washroom, grab a drink, grab some snacks. Please go do that now. We'll be back and we will be starting at 5 minutes sharp. Um, we'll have a brief discussion about what Johnny and Randy thought of the previous 2 episodes that we skipped past, or three. I guess it was three. Yeah, 7, 8, 9. Um, and we'll dive into it here. So go get some popcorn, fill up those mugs. Also, you bastards at Regal Cinemas down in the States, damn you for that collector's Darth Vader friggin' popcorn thing you're getting for Revenge of the Sith.
Want
Not
me to get you
cool.
one?
Oh, dude, I love it. Um, More so the cup, honestly. I love the collector's cups.
I will see
Uh,
what I can do because I definitely want to go see it.
yeah, I think I'm gonna try to get everyone to go to Cineplex for the Revenge of the Sith one here. Gonna have to get on that soon and have a better chance of getting collector's cups through them than through Landmark. Landmark's been shit. So, anyways, take 5. We'll be back, and we'll be back with Andor season 1, episode 10, as well as some information about Andor season 2 and its runtimes. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be getting ready to start this watch party in about 5 minutes time or so. Um, I know Randy and I love the show. I know Johnny liked episode 3. I think he thought episode 6 was okay, but definitely got bent out of shape a little bit about an AK-47 gun. Um,
The hell kind of rant was that anyway?
it's one that will live on in infamy. And since then, episode 7, obviously, we see him go back and he's on the run and he gets caught by a K2 droid, which is rather funny. um, and then episode 8 and 9, we see him in the prison. Honestly, in my opinion, in episode 7, 8, and 9, the more interesting story being told, even though I do like the camaraderie that's being built amongst the prisoners, um, the Mon Mothma stuff in the 7 to 9 for me, the Mon Mothma and Luthen stuff is where the series really takes off. Um, Randy, maybe some super brief thoughts, and then we'll find out what Johnny thought of the last 3.
Yeah, I actually took the time to rewatch them today. I forgot how good the music really was for this series. I like what they've done with it. They like just the electronic feel of it, and it fits everything. Um, and obviously for me, the prison stuff really kind of is to me is a really good part of this. So I do agree that uh, with Mon Mothma and Luthen, that's definitely kind of your bread and butter in the sense of this is the formation of the rebellion. This is how it's starting. And that's kind of like the really cool takeaway from that is that this is how it starts. Just a few individuals starting to just kind of share ideas and start to act. Again, Skarsgård is so good as just. I love just how instantly he can just switch it on and off in terms of just his character of the rebel versus basically the shop owner. It's great. I did really enjoy his interaction with Saw Gerrera as well. I think that was very well done. But ultimately, obviously, this last episode left off where we're finally going to get to the part, to me, what I view as like one of the more heartbreaking things in the series, and we'll get there. I'm not going to say anything else beyond that.
Yeah, I think the thing that just happened at the prison there at the end of episode 9, um,
Mm-hmm.
we get there's little hints at it in the excuse me, the previous 2 episodes, and then when it really sort of un- sorry guys,
Don't
yeah,
die,
trying
Sean.
not to, when it unfolds at the end of episode 9 and like you're kind of piecing it together, it's like, isn't that the most scumbag
Oh,
imperial
absolutely.
fucking empire thing to be doing? um but the moment we've been all waiting for, I can only imagine how bad this might get. um Episodes 7 through 9, Johnny, give us some
I'm
brief
I'm
thoughts before I joke.
I'm gonna keep it short. I'd say that there's very little that stands out to me as makes me want to come back for more. Um, Obviously the Mon Mothma stuff is interesting. It's intriguing to me because, like I've said before, it's a story that we've never really heard told before. Like, yes, obviously at the end we sort of know, the directions and the steps and where she's going to end up, but we've never really seen the steps to get there. We've never really seen the path played out. I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying seeing, her interactions with people outside of the rebellion, how it's sort of blossoming into that, and seeing the character who, we see in later movies is just sort of this, you know, it, it's good to finally see this so that you can understand the importance she does have, in the later films, for a character who's really not there very much. She's sort of there, she delivers a speech here and a speech there and sets up strategy here and strategy there, but it's never really, explain who she is other than a name and her significance to the rebellion. And this is doing a good job of fleshing that out and explaining her importance and her significance and how pivotal she is to the formation and establishment of the Rebel Alliance. And I think it's great to see. And of course the performance has been good too.
Yeah, I think
Um,
she's been Genevieve O'Reilly's been fantastic, and I will say this: everyone shits on Star Wars because it really is an easy thing to do, and that some of it's taken just way too far. Um, but the Mon Mothma character specifically, whether it was back in Legends or the new canon expanded universe material, they've always done a really, really good job
mhm.
on expanding her character, and it's never the same thing over and over again. It's always something new.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, Andy Serkis is Andy Serkis. Anytime you can see him do
Yeah,
something
he's great.
is an opportunity I'll take. I watch the Planet of the Apes movies just for Andy Serkis. Don't really enjoy them, but it's Andy Serkis.
Right.
Um, so I mean, I'll say nothing more there. I, you know, uh, like you said, the Luthen stuff as well. Skarsgård is a phenomenally talented actor, and it's shining through in his performance here. Like Randy said, the duality of the character is amazing to watch. How he can so quickly go from one side of the coin to the other side of the coin and interchange that. It's great. It's the performance is amazing, and of course, Saw Gerrera. It's anytime he pops up, things are about to get interesting. He's not a character that shows up lightly, and I like that. He's a character that when he shows up, that it's significant. They've done a very good job of sort of protecting that character in that way that, when he does show up, that, it's significant and it's important. I still, I mean, this is just, this is a me thing, but, Cassian is still, I don't know. I don't know what it is about the character that just turns me off. It just, I can't get behind him. I can't get into him as a character as I should. Like they've built this series around him, and he's the character I'm least enjoying in this story. I can't put my finger, I can't point to any action or, it's not a performance issue. I'll say that, like the actual performance is perfectly fine, even good in some places, but the character to me is just not one I'm, you know, getting behind as a, a huge interest for me. And
I think that's a fair point because I think a lot of people thought with this series, because the other characters are so good in it, that Cassian was not narratively taking a back seat, because I don't think that's true, but in terms of level of interest was
mhm,
taking a back seat. But I will stand by this. The next three episodes change that. It's the really the come to light for him. So, and we'll be doing two of them right here on this watch party. So, um,
not tonight,
no,
but
not
over the
tonight. No,
course of
that'd be
these
hard to
watch
do
parties.
because
That's
we would have to watch 10, take a break for 11, and then you'd have to
that's
do
why I'm
three.
specifying we're not doing two in a row. It's over the
We,
next two.
yes, you can join us next week for episode
Finish that.
12. And then I think what we might end up doing when Andor's on is we might end up watching the first of the three episodes together when they drop, the night they drop. And then the rest of us will have the responsibility of watching the other two before reviewing them the next night. So, not confirmed, but be on the lookout for that. But as I said before, we are at 235 of episode 10, season 1 of Andor. One way out. You guys ready? Johnny, Randy?
Yep.
Jade might have some comments, but she's on the other side of the room, so
Mhm.
might be hard to hear her. Here we go. We'll go on go this time for real. 3, 2, 1, go. Great acting class right here. I'll say this about Tony Gilroy. There's a lot of people that could have made that convoluted and just sort of everywhere. It's it's pretty simple. You either escape and try for your life tomorrow or you're never going to have it. Nothing convoluted about that. I appreciate that. Randy, this music is badass.
No, absolutely. And I might add that Andy Serkis is acting his ass off right now, and I love it.
Hot take. I'll take Kino over Snoke.
I can't disagree with that.
I do think they nailed the look of this show. Like it visually, it's a level up of anything else that Star Wars TV is doing.
Well, and they did a good job of giving us the colors from A New Hope in a lot of respects, so that it's just kind of that continuity is there, that you can tell the Empire is starting to um, build towards what we eventually see in Episode 4.
Still with us over there, Johnny? Or are you sleeping?
I'm present. I mean, you hit it on the look. It's almost like, building actual sets, you know, leads to visually looking good. I mean, who'd have thought?
What a novel idea! I will say, how cool is it to just to see how lavishly that senators get to live? I mean, obviously, the first Chandrillans anyway. Just the aesthetic for Mon Mothma's home is pretty impressive. I really do like that.
Your curiosity is
I was going to say, I don't think she's hurting for money, but I guess that goes against what's happening in the story.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, very true. But it's still that is quite the spread.
Other stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's a very complex scene.
This dude is such a scumbag.
Holy Moses. I do think we're like Genevieve O'Reilly is doing a fantastic job of expressing, like, I don't think I'm spoiling anything here, like what the cost of this rebellion is for her.
Yeah, unfortunately, Luthen made it quite clear earlier on in the season, rebellions take money, and there is a price to pay.
You're definitely right about the A New Hope aesthetic. The poor new guy didn't do anything wrong. He's getting Scott Hall tasered.
You're not wrong. Poor guy.
Well, at least the new guy got with the program.
Whoops.
Oopsie daisy. That's what weapons are supposed to look like in Star Wars.
So it's safe to say no mini rant this time about with the look of a weapon.
No, because I can't look at it and think of a Call of Duty weapon. How hubristically imperial to just have unsecured armories.
Yep. Pretty on brand. Although that is the one story Cassian, like in the current timeline's been trying to tell you, is they're fucking careless.
That's true.
They think they've got you ruled by fear and that fear alone will keep you in line. They don't understand that people snap. And when they do, you might as well, you need everything on lockdown just to protect yourselves. But they're learning the hard way now. All I'm going to say is going up that long flight of stairs, you won't need leg day for a while.
No shit.
What a fucking idiot.
Do it.
Oh. To just automatically go forward says so much.
Yeah, they with little screen time, they did a good job of like building their relationship up a bit. Mutual mutual respect between one another.
Yeah.
I'll say it. They're the smart ones. Guns are not heavily outnumbered. This next part's one of my favorite in the series. Give that man an award.
I mean, it's a hell of a way to basically say I've sacrificed my soul, but for the way he so eloquently puts it, it just has a deeper meaning that just kind of drives the point home, and it's so well written and so well acted.
Basically, I give my life for a sunset I'll never see, or a sunrise I'll never see, rather. One second, guys. So there we have it, episode 10 in the books. We will watch episode 11 in the next week and do episode 12, the final episode of season 1, which is my favorite. I think it's far and away the best. Uh, Next week. Johnny, let's have it. What do you think?
I, again, the star of this is not the guy the show's named after. Yet again, the performances of others are what stands out in this episode. It's Mon Mothma and the cost of the rebellion. It's Luthen and a man who sold his soul for a future he's not guaranteed. It's Andy Serkis literally giving his life so that everyone else can be free. Presumptively, I should say. But it just, it's yet again, Andor is a character that just sort of flows in the river of everyone else's amazing stories and performances. I just, I'm again, this was an amazing episode. And Cassian is a co-star in it at best.
I do think the show is more designed to be an ensemble in season 1. It makes me wish they would have had a different title for the animated show Star Wars Rebels, because I do think like Star Wars The Rebellion, or The Rebellion even, would have been a more appropriate show title for the show in general. But I thought episode 10 did a better job of giving Cassian a little bit more to chew on, and then 11 and 12 definitely has significant more. But even at 12, now that I think about it, the one we're gonna watch together next week, it's an episode where a bunch of characters have big moments, Cassian too, but it's more about what the show does as a collective than one person. I remember when we were doing Wastelands together back in the day, we would be like, nobody asked for this Cassian Andor show. Why are we getting a $200+ million season of Cassian Andor that's not going to do the stagecraft stuff and build sets and go on location? Nobody asked for this, and conveniently enough, we didn't actually get that. We got a show about the rebellion and the empire. So funny how that works. Any
Yeah.
final thoughts on that, Johnny, before we hand off to Randy?
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think this is, it's Mandalorian and Grogu as a name. It's just, you're just naming something after the most
Oh, I
known
hate it, dude. Like
character in it.
Ahsoka too, even. Like I really like the
At least
Ahsoka
that one's
show, but
about her.
Book of Boba Fett, like,
Yeah, it just,
it's lame.
I don't know. We call this something else, It's just,
Star Wars, something else.
yeah, but I mean, like, there's so many other possibilities that you could use. Like, you were talking about, Rebels would have been a better name for this. Yeah, but you don't have to, like Star Wars, Birth of Rebellion, Birth of a Rebellion, or a Rebel Dawn. Like there's so
Age of
many.
the Empire.
Like it just, there's so many other possibilities. You don't need to name it just Andor, like just because the Mandalorian. And you ran through the gambit of all the other names. Like, just because it's a TV series on Disney Plus doesn't mean it needs to be named after the character in the most episodes. Like, shit, and if that's the case, the Book of Boba Fett shouldn't even be the Book of Boba Fett. But I digress. It just like the naming structure is terrible, and I think naming this something else would have helped, at least for me, to be more interested. Because even having Cassian in here, because he isn't inherently the problem, just would have been better for the series. Like it's unfortunate because in the episodes we've watched here, and even the ones I've watched on my own outside of these watch parties, I just it's the series is a lot better than I gave it credit for when it came out, but it just feels like it's on the cusp of being something great, but it just can't quite get itself there. Like maybe it's just the fact that they're trying to force the story back around to Cassian and make him the center of it, when in reality it's the stories of the characters around him that are the most intriguing, that are the most interesting, that are the most, ones that I want to dive into. That Cassian's story is just also there. Like it's not significant. It's not, like the thing for me is if you take Cassian out and replace him with a random person, it doesn't hurt the story. Like it's not about Cassian in a way that if he wasn't present, these stories would not be as good. And
Oh,
that's a problem.
well, no, yeah, no. Let's wait till episode
To this
12.
point, I'm saying to this
Yeah,
point. That's all I can do is speak to this
yeah.
point.
To
Like
this
even
point, I'll give it to you. After episode 12, no, yeah, no. We'll leave
well,
it at
that's all
that.
I can go on. Right? All I can go on is what I've seen, and as we've established, I have not watched the entire season, so I don't know what's to come. Other than Cassian doesn't die because his death is still forthcoming. That's I don't know. Mon Mothma doesn't die.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we saw him
Everything else
fry.
is up in the air. Like for stories for what could happen. It's I'm more interested in everyone else's story than I am Cassian's part of the story, and that's problematic for a series called Andor. Now, the last two episodes could change that, and you're leaning heavily on implying that that is the case, at least in your
In
opinion.
terms
That
of like making, you'd made the point. If you took away his story, would the rest still
yeah,
be? Yeah, yeah, no, that definitely changes. That's not like a opinion thing. That's definitely a factual thing due to events that happen. So,
so like
um,
it's to this point, Cassian has been a co-star in a story about him. Will that change in the last two episodes? You say yes. I say, well, believe it when I see it. Um, it just
see, I know it's titled Andor. I don't necessarily think the story's just about him, though. I think that's a Disney and Lucasfilm. We can't get out of our own way and come up with normal titles, so let's title everything after whoever the lead character is in something. And it's like even for Obi-Wan Kenobi, as much as I wanted Obi-Wan Kenobi movies or a series, I never wanted it to be called Obi-Wan Kenobi.
mhm,
Like have more faith in your audience to be able to pick up on something or follow something than having to have the title of something be the main character.
mhm.
So obviously for me, if you want to go on the name game, I would have like named it like a call to rebellion or something like that. Kind of give it that novel feel.
Mhm.
Um, but ultimately, I mean, this episode especially, we definitely had three characters that did a lot of heavy hitting, and the obviously the tragic part for me that always bums me out is just seeing Kino's reaction when he's like, "Fuck water." It's because in such a short amount of time, think about how much you kind of start to latch onto the character because, and that's part of it's the writing of the character. The other part is the acting. Uh, I mean, I was like, this is awesome. He's going to get to escape. And we see that. And he's like, I can't swim. That was so heartbreaking to me. And the look on his face. And yeah, it was a big downer. But you still have Mon Mothma, you still have Luthen just pulling their weight, just batting cleanup with a lot of their heavy dialogue, and that again, well written, well acted. Uh, Obviously, the acting with the facial expressions, whether it's Luthen or Mon Mothma, especially Mon Mothma, when she has that realization sinks in that what's this rebellion going to cost her, and it's more than what she anticipated. And then we come to Luthen, and he goes on about how basically this is costing him his soul. In short form, it's costing me my soul. In long form, it's just hit after hit after gut punch, and you're just kind of going, this is the side of Star Wars we never knew we needed to see. This is the side of Star Wars that when we first see A New Hope, we're just like, oh, it's the rebellion, it's good versus evil. This series makes it a very fine line between the good and the evil, and doing what it takes to win or attempt to earn your freedom. And that's why I think that's why the show is it's just so good, because it gives us a side of Star Wars that we normally never got. And ultimately, these next two episodes, Johnny, I'm pretty sure that this is where it's going to be Cassian's time to shine, and I think you're going to see that when we get to our watch party next week.
Yeah, I think so. I do think collectively they're all like spokes on a wheel. Like obviously Andor is the lead character, the lead casting, but his screen time isn't necessarily significantly more than a lot of his co-stars, right? Where, in a movie per se, that's not necessarily the same case. Um, I just think I think they do a really good job from this point, moving forward and setting up for season two. So we'll have to see what all that brings us in good time. Speaking of season two, the news that came out today, courtesy Cryptic 4K Quality, who's the runtime king for getting runtimes before shows come out. And the second season of Andor, consisting of 12 episodes, all run from about 42 minutes to an hour or so in runtime. So no short changes here on the episodes. Plenty of story to tell. Plenty of time to tell it in. That is going to do it for our show tonight, though. Big thank you to our channel sponsors, Jesse over at Jesse's Storytime Spectacular, Ryan at Colleague Nation, Jason at Backtrack Cinema, and our boy Maddie. Without them, wouldn't be possible to do what we do. Same to all of our patrons. Thank you. You want to support the channel on Patreon for bonus content. We couldn't launch it officially for today because I have no power at home. I'm away right now. So whenever there's power and I have a couple of days to sit down and formally launch it, that's when the link will get changed. But for now, it's patreon.com/fandom empire for our bonus Patreon content. Big thanks to Johnny and Randy for coming out and doing this tonight. Randy, where can everybody find you? What do you got going on, man?
So you can find me on X at Giggity Giles. Currently, I also do the Sports Brew with a bunch of friends. We drink, talk shit, talk sports. We are actually closing on episode 400 within, I think, in the next 8 or 9 episodes. And I tell you, one thing is for certain, we will go all out to the point of where if you're not laughing at us by the time all is said and done, something's wrong. So if you definitely enjoy people just pretty much giving each other shit and just enjoy just regular banter, definitely check us out. Just Google Sports and Brew and you should be able to find us no problem.
Sounds good, man. Johnny, what about you?
Oh, here, there, everywhere. Twitch.tv/bros before pros.
Sounds good. And be sure to check out for keep an eye out for Westeros content in the near future, given some of the news coming out about that. CinemaCon in the process. Probably lots more movie news to come over the course of the next couple of days. So we'll be keeping an eye on that for next week's show. But for Johnny and Randy and some brief cameos from Jade, I'm Sean. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you next time. Same fandom channel, same fandom time.